We begin tonight with Bill O'Reilly, host of the No Spin News, author of the coming book confronting the president's no spin assessments from Washington to Biden. Mr. O, good to see you. Let's look forward. What is Donald Trump's plan to regain the narrative?
I think it's all about the debate now, Leland. There's going to be some trouble at the Democratic convention with the anarchists and pro-Palestinian people. It's going to divert away from the Democratic message in Chicago. I think Republicans are now a little bit on the defensive because the media, predictably, has thrown its weight behind Vice President Harris. All that's predictable. The stuff now is pretty much small ball. I don't know if the cat lady vote is going to come back to the GOP, but I don't know if they're really concerned about that. By the way, that soundbite was, what, 4 years ago, right? The cat lady thing. But it's going to be a mud fest, both sides.
Well, to be fair, right, we're playing, a lot of people, Republicans are playing all sorts of sound bites of Kamala Harris 4 years ago. That's fair game. So what's it matter?
Well, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care what they play. I mean, so what? You don't like cat ladies? Kamala Harris doesn't like the Catholic Church. That's now being recycled around when she asked the Knights of Columbus guy who was up for a judgeship about, oh, how can you rule independently if you're a Catholic Knights of Columbus guy? What I'm trying to say, Leland, and I'll say it slower so you get it, is that this is going to be mud all over the place, all right? But it's the debate that really will matter. So the polling is foolish now. ABC Ipsos poll wasn't likely voters, wasn't registered voters. It was, I guess, people just wandering around. And it was heavily weighted, I understand, from our investigation toward the minority community. And women of color have rallied to Kamala Harris's cause. And that alone has spiked her up 2-3 points. So that's where we are.
All right, so that's where we are. A couple of things, all about the debate. That means it's a month away until Trump gets to be able to even have a chance of resetting things. A lot can bake in a month. But I want to get down to this word weird, right? And this is what they're calling Donald Trump and JD Vance. And it comes from the governor of Minnesota. I thought it was sort of a brilliant way of trying to brand someone else. Weird, I feel like, is something you would call Kamala Harris. How is it that the Democrats figured this out and were able to capitalize on it, and Trump seems paralyzed to deal with it?
Are you saying I would call Vice President Harris weird?
It seems as though that's something you might call someone. Yes, it is.
Well, that's ridiculous. I would never call the Vice President of the United States weird. I don't know how big the weird vote is, but I think it's bigger than the cat lady vote. So if you're weird, you might benefit from it. A lot of weirdos walking around, Leland.
Yeah, that's true.
All it is just nonsense. It's just absolute nonsense. And it's amusing, but most Americans, as we approach August, are on vacation. Don't want to hear about any of this stuff anymore. They're checked out. The press is absolutely in lockstep with the Democratic Party, but we knew that was going to happen. They hate Trump. And we'll just kind of slouch our way, as Judge Bork once said, toward the debate. And the debate, I think, is going to tell the tale. I think it's a closer race because of the skin color factor. I mean, and that's appalling to me. I don't think anybody should be voting for anybody because of the color of their skin. Do you agree with that?
Well, slouching his way did not really work out so well for Judge Bork, right?
No, it was a nice descriptive thing. But do you believe Americans should vote based upon skin color? I don't. I think that's appalling.
No, I couldn't agree more. Look, and Kamala Harris's team is leaning into that. Tomorrow night, we've got the head of white dudes for Harris. You had Karens for Harris, on and on and on. So, right, no, it's clear that they're sort of dividing and conquering through the diversity triangle. The JD Vance pick, though, and you make the point that his soundbite about cat ladies was a couple of years ago. And it was said for a reason, because it got a laugh. And there's a certain segment of single young white women who don't want to get married that have turned wildly liberal. We have someone on representing that side a little later in the show. But the JD Vance issue is a significant one for Donald Trump, is it not?
No, it's not. People forget about that. Look, and I don't think you should lump in all the single ladies into the Democratic Party. I think that single ladies are able to think for themselves. And what the ones that have become liberal Democrats, what they don't understand is that if the Democrats get power, they're going to tax the cats. There's going to be a paw tax. So you're going to come after your cat and say, hey, we want some money for the cat. I'm being facetious now, Leland, but you pointed out that JD Vance said this stuff in a rally, the cat, so he could get a laugh. Trump does that all the time. And then it comes back to haunt them because the media is looking for that gotcha stuff. So my advice to all the candidates would be very precise in your language. You want to make a point, you got to hold up a sign saying, this is satire now. You can't just say stuff anymore because then it takes over the news cycle. Right. We live in a very, very distracted country where many voters, perhaps most, can't be bothered to figure out the issues, can't be bothered to understand what's at stake. My column on BillO'Reilly.com, which I think you've read, is The Stakes. Yep. What is really historically at stake in November. And it's ultra serious stuff that has nothing to do with
I'm going to make your point for you. I'm going to make your point for you because I'm going to play a soundbite from Elizabeth Warren about the issues. Oddly enough, 10 minutes, 12 minutes into the broadcast, we'll get to an issue rather than cat ladies. Elizabeth Warren on the Sunday shows talking about what to do with the 10+ million illegal immigrants in America.
I believe we need to create a pathway to citizenship. All of that is a part of what we need to do for comprehensive immigration reform. Kamala Harris will work with Congress and get that done.
There you go.
Yeah, and Kamala Harris also wants to pick up all the health bills for the undocumented people that came here when they shouldn't have. So, I mean, look, if you don't think that's an extreme position, then I don't know what to say to you. That's extreme. America's $35 trillion in debt, and the vice president of the United States is saying, we ought to pay all the health care costs for everybody who snuck in here. That's insane. That's not just radical. And Elizabeth Warren, yay, yay, let's go do that. I mean, so what I'm trying to get across to people is we're getting diverted by cat ladies and weird and all of this stuff. It doesn't matter. What really matters is the two platforms. And then we'll see who's got the stronger argument on the debate stage. And that's where it's going to, that's going to be one of the most important debates. And the Biden-Trump debate was absolutely one of the most important debates in history. This may top it.
Okay, so if you want to come back to the very beginning of the show, which is Trump always says he's the smartest guy, he's the best guy, he's got the best people and the best plans. Shouldn't A, he have expected this, number one, and B, had a plan to deal with it, and C, rather than getting up and doing his usual shtick that was fine when he was 6 or 7 points ahead a month ago, and talk about the things you just said he should talk about, which is the issues, the issues, the issues.
He'd be wise to do that. I'm going to interview JD Vance soon, and I will take his measure. And you know what happens when I do one-on-one interviews. And hopefully that will happen in the next week or so. We're talking to his people now. I would have picked the governor of Virginia as my second had I been Trump. Because that man is extremely smart, very measured in how he presents himself. The Trump people need the Commonwealth of Virginia, but Trump felt comfortable with Vance. I'm not going to criticize that pick until after I speak with Vance, because then I can evaluate what he's got. Right now, I'm depending on a biased media to interpret him, and I don't want to do that. That's not fair.
What do you make? And I can't figure it out. Maybe you'd ask him about this, maybe you won't. Won't put words in your mouth. The easiest way to put all of this to bed, the fact that he's got white supremacists coming after his wife, which if white supremacists were going after my wife or anyone was going after my wife, I would have some choice words for them. I wouldn't say, oh, gee, it's just how much I love her. Okay, there would be some very choice words there, which he didn't say, number one. And number two, you sit down with your wife in an interview and you do it on Good Morning America and you let people see who you are. Why don't you think he's done that?
I don't know. I don't run their campaigns. That would be wise for Senator Vance and his wife to appear on the morning programs. I don't know who these white supremacists are. Who are they? I don't know. I mean, there's a part of it. Well, there's a part of the MAGA world that all of a sudden loved JD Vance for a long time. You want their names or their Twitter accounts? Well, yeah,
I don't know.
I want names and address. This could be completely fabricated. There's not one shred of evidence that I've seen. Well, that's up to him. But if somebody was threatening his wife because of her skin color, the FBI should be right on it. Is it? Is the FBI on it? I don't know. There's no information here. See, I'm an information guy. Before I'm going to make an opinion on something, I got to see the factual basis for it. Now, I don't doubt there are some loons that don't like Senator Vance's wife, but who cares? But if it's elevated, then it has to be dealt with and it has to be put out. But you're right. If JD Vance, his campaign was shrewd, they would absolutely go into a forum where both appeared and spoke about their lives and how they see the country. That would be a big event for them.
Maybe they'll do it on BillO'Reilly.com, the No Spin News. Perfect place.
Maybe they'll do it. Maybe they should do it on NewsNation. You guys got a good morning team.
We could
do it everywhere.
Yep.
They would do it. They could do it everywhere. Take a couple of mornings out and do a sweep, and that would help. But you ask me questions about these campaigns. I've been doing this business a long time. Most of the people in campaigns are dunderheads. They don't know anything. They're butt kissers. They're sycophants. That's what they do for a living. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah?
They're Martin Van Buren with Andrew Jackson. Martin Van Buren lips grew about 3 inches when he was vice president.
Bill, we can only go back. We have a rule. We can only go back to the early 1900s on this program. And after that, we got to go to the book.
All
right, there we go.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.